What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Brad, Cindy, David. Good morning to Georgia GW. We got Jay in the house. Good morning to Lauren, Martina, Michael, Rob, Shane, Tim. You guys are piling in. I love it. David Cook speaks out in the YouTube land. All my other people in YouTube land, especially all my lurkers, just sitting there, not going to comment anything, just watching. That's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button, but. Spy, every day we get it seems like a gap and go, and then by the end of the day we don't do anything. So, uh, it's like these are like gap and almost goes, like they're trying, they're trying, but eventually one of these will break. Question is to the higher side or lower side. I don't know until it happens. But we do have that gap and go today. We do have a little bit of support right below us on the SPY. So first spot is essentially where we're opening 604.62, and then we got 604.31. Again, these are all spots that have been taken out before multiple times now at this point. We can a little bit easier break through some of that support. The next one down, we got 603.60. That's been messed with. We got 602.42. That's been messed with. We got the 20 in between that one, but the 20 EMA. Otherwise, you got roughly around this 599.50. So a little bit of room to the downside, providing that we can actually get through some of these levels, which is the story of December. Just hanging out for mostly, at least for the spy, just kind of just chopping around, not really doing too much. So again, we'll see if those hold. Yesterday was, yeah, more of a, we almost tried to break out, really just hitting that support or resistance, and then just kind of hanging out. But for the most part, inside day yesterday. I wouldn't be shocked if you actually get some buying off of this gap and go. And then I don't know how this day is going to close, but we'll see. We'll see if this support levels could kind of hold us up. TLT trying to help, maybe. Yeah, so TLT was kind of moving a little bit, but um, I think we had some retail numbers come out today. I think we kind of got a little pop on TLT from that. Otherwise, in terms of TLT, tomorrow's going to be a big day for it. When we get the chance to hear from the Fed again, we're just still in that blackout period, so we're not going to hear anything today. But we got the Qs still looking relatively strong, for the most part. A little bit of a gap down today, but inside day still in the upper third region of that candle, so nothing too crazy. But you do have resistance now from yesterday at 538.90, so obviously we're going to want to see that get taken out. If this rally on the Qs is going to continue to extend, otherwise, the real support I have on this one is about 530.67. Otherwise, the low end of yesterday's candle, 533. If it gets down there, maybe even like 50%. So 50% of yesterday's candle halfway through it, something to that extent would be probably another try. But that is a good looking bullish breakout candle. Do we really want to take down, get past yesterday's opening price? I don't think so. Who knows what happens in this market or if any news comes out during the day, but uh, if we do, I think it's a sure shot at least to 530.67. And then if that starts to break, I got 527.19. So we'll see what happens on that one. TLT. TLT still holding that double bottom. Yeah, we're starting to at least get some kind of a pop. Whether this continues or not, who knows? Again, you don't really want to see a pullback with like just all red candles. Momentum is a little bit more to the downside, but you're still hanging into that some decent support. We are above 2 days of epoch, so look for support on TLT, $90, $90.32. I still got targets, which is going to be tough for today. I think we have to wait at least till tomorrow if Jerome Powell could deliver some good presence to us. But we got 91.10 for the really that next resistance. Otherwise, we're back to just kind of dealing with all of this, and the high point of this is $90.77. So we'll see. It's not collapsing today. It's only up 8 cents, but It's not down today, so that's a little bit different from some of those last couple days. We shall see. I got some tickers coming in already. DELL. Still good consolidation at that 200. Again, Qs look strong. That's going to help. This gap with this high wave candle still a little bit devastating just on the structure breakdown of Dell. But we are still hanging out at the 200. So again, risk to reward. If you're trying, I'd give it some more time. It doesn't seem to me, and until it happens, we don't know. But it doesn't seem to me like we're ready to kind of break out either way on this one. So maybe a little bit more chop city. It is a gap and go bearish. You did have a little bit of a inverted hammer, but strong support. Comes in at 118.17. I got another really strong support at 117.66. And then essentially down into this 200, which is 117.25. So decent couple areas where there could be some buying. At least maybe the bears just have a little bit more difficult taking it through it. But yeah, I would. I think we get a little chop on Dell today. I don't know if today's the day we break out on it. Unless you're assuming that we do take out some of those levels. This is all still a lot of inside candles from this last previous breakdown, which was pretty much closing right at or slightly below the 200. PFE trying to find some legs. Yeah, last couple days. I mean, yesterday wasn't great. We're actually in a TTM squeeze too. Just all those moving averages are going to help to weigh us down as opposed to break us out. Today, at least we are above the 20 EMA, and then I think your target to the high side on this one is about $26.18. If we could get a close above that, then sign me up. Sign me up for maybe some continuation, probably up until at least 26.67, which also takes us into that 50. But maybe we have finally some consolidation. This would technically be a higher low, mini double bottom here, but a little bit of resistance. This is a gap and go from yesterday too, so maybe some shorts, maybe getting burned a little bit. I do appreciate the fact we're above this November 15th candle. That's where we had some decent volume. So if we could stay out of that range today, I think this actually sells off a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe one green candle out of the gate, and then we kind of just fade, and then we start using that 20 as support, and then I think we get a break on it. We'll put this one higher though. It is a gap and go. We are taking out some decent volume. Resistance would be the biggest thing for me as far as how far this one could go. And you still got the RFK effect in place too. Plus, I think they're starting to get a bunch of lawsuits from COVID. That could keep them down a little until at least it doesn't even matter if they win or lose the lawsuits. It would help if they win. But if they lose or have to make some settlements, once we get that news out of the way, that should free it up a little bit more too. TEVA. Um, Pharmaceutical. Besides that, everything else looks phenomenal with this gap. All right, I'm gonna add this one to the list. Let's figure out what their news is too. We got a psychological $20 mark right above you. This is quite the gap already. Biggest problem is it moved a lot. Otherwise, let's see what is going on with this one. What in advancement of uh medicine did they come out with? Affirm solar. I don't even see it listed in here. Pfizer rose 2.5% after the drug giant affirms 2024 guidance and said it expects revenue of Mm, I don't even see anything in the article unless it's a sympathy off the Pfizer, but I don't think so. Either that or I'm missing it. Let's see if there's another article. There we go. Oh, IBD treatment achieved higher remissions at trial. All right, so a little positivity for them. Um, It is pharmaceutical, so it could be a little bit wild, but also that is a pretty good gap and go. Uh, a pretty good gap at least. Clearing through a strong double top. Anybody that was in here short, we did have a lot of volume on the earnings. That's all getting taken out. I don't know where to throw the price target. This is up a lot. I want to at least think this one can keep going. So we'll see if there's any opening high waves or anything fun. Let's actually even look into. I think this one has the ability to keep going. You got $20.12, and then you have tweezer tops from the original news at $20.36. Does anybody want to take some money, some gains, if you already own this one off the table? It's possible. Usually, a lot of pharmaceuticals sell the news. ADR is 56 cents. Yeah, but pharmaceutical can get wild too. If they have news that comes out, usually it's buy the rumor, sell the news though. So that would be my only only issue. All those people that look like they were in trouble might have an opportunity to kind of get out on some good news. We'll watch it though. We'll see if there's any fun looking candles in this one. Mm, we'll see. All right, NVDA. Andrew says in SMCI, just the money expiring every week for the next 8 weeks. In SMCI, just the money expiring every week for the next 8 weeks. I'm not really sure what that means. I did read it twice to be sure, but I'm a little confused. Little confused. We got Nvidia. Yeah, that's a pretty strong gap down. Again, as soon as we started losing that support at 134, I think it is a little bit weaker. Actually, probably about 15 minutes ago, we have 129.38. That was holding, and now right now we are losing that one. We're also below the 100. I've got really good support in this one at 128.39. I maybe today we get some kind of bounce off there. I think ultimately we do drop a little bit further, uh, maybe into this like 124.49 zone. If we're using the volume on the side, that would give us into a range of like, yep, 124.86. Maybe we get down to this 118. So I'm not selling puts yet. I don't see any. I don't love to sell puts when things look a little bit to the weaker side. But if we can get a little bit more of a pullback, I probably will sell some puts on Nvidia. But opening below that 100, and we finally broke down. We also have a pretty big, massive head and shoulders. Again, for day trade purpose, I'd like to remain bearish for today on Nvidia. It doesn't mean you can't make some money to the higher side. This is a retest. We will have to clear through some little bit of resistance, but if we can get the retest, that should take us up to 131.65. Not that we have to get there, but I would expect some kind of profit taking from some of those shorts. We've had a decent run into this gap down. So I wouldn't get all excited on the short side of things quite yet, but if we get some kind of a bounce, I would be looking to play Nvidia to the bear side. Believe it or not, I know. I didn't see that one coming for 2024. Let me check out SMCI. Oh, so Andrew has 34 to 40 strikes. I got calls in SMCI expiring every. Oh, you got calls expiring every week for the next 8 weeks. I see. All right. All ranging from $34 to $40. Um, I'm hoping that at least some of the smaller price targets, like the 34, is the closer dates, and then 40 maybe you have some more time on. But you could go about that two ways. You could start selling calls against some of the higher priced tickets. Keep in mind you could get called away. It's possible. But Right now, it's hanging out. We did have a little bit of a scarier open yesterday. We did survive. It was a retest gap, so I wouldn't say it's quite like here's definitely our bounce spot because all of this green candle I think is normal just for the retest and some profit taking. We're still hanging out there for today, which is 33.71 would be the support. If we start breaking that down, you have a couple other tight levels in here, 32.85. Anything below that, you could also counter those calls with some puts, some shorter term puts, see if you get some more momentum to the downside for this one. But this one could also hang out until we have some kind of news too. I don't think somebody brought this up yesterday. I forget who it was, but in the swing room, I don't think we like the Fed rate decision won't probably affect to some extent it will, but for the most part, it's not going to affect like the SMCIs. It's probably not going to affect the Nvidias since they have a ton of cash sitting on the side anyway, so the interest rates don't really doesn't really matter to them. They're not really needing to borrow money or kind of produce. They got cash already. Apple, same thing. Google, most likely. So the rate won't affect them, except more to the negative side. So if the rates come out and then just the market hates it, the stocks that have already been kind of weak, the Nvidias that are kind of losing some of that steam a little bit, I think you have more chance of a downside push if they don't like the rates. If they do like the rates, okay, probably hangs out, not as severe of a drop. Um, but until for something like SMCI, we kind of need the news. We need news that there is no accounting issues. And I think that could come in like I think they were saying like March or they're extended to what, February? So I think February is the next big date where they could get delisted or they have to have some kind of news in between there. It doesn't mean it's coming in February, but somewhere in between there they would have to put out some kind of report saying the accounting is fine and we just don't know how to do math. We we stink at paperwork, but our chips are cool. So if something like that comes in, then I think that's your next real rally. Otherwise, we did come up, we closed the gap. That's going to be a lot of people's targets. And what could kill you on some of the calls or puts is if we just kind of chop around in the zone for another 2 or 3 weeks. Now your theta is going to be sucked out of those things, and then you really need this thing to rocket on some of those. So I do prefer shares. I'd prefer the shares, and then just to just sell the contracts against it, and just do that over and over again to make those shares as free as possible. And then once they become free, then you're just buying some more shares and building that position out. And then just kind of dollar cost average, sell some puts, try to get filled at lower pricing, things like that. But yeah, it's going to be, and maybe the news comes out today. Who knows? I have no idea. But until that news does come out, I think we're probably just we're in a decent, like, if you want to take a shot on this one, just the same as I'm not sure it rallies. I'm not sure that we're going to die until we get some negative news on it. You're right around that 50% retracement. You got your 618 right here. If we could get down to that 618, that would be an interesting spot to look to buy or maybe sell some puts after we hit like 29.10, something to that extent. All right, let's see. AVGO. We got a bunch of tickers coming in today. We got Palantir as well, and Tessie and TSM. All right, we got AVGO hanging out for now. Obviously, going short. That would be that will be a big time going against the grain after that gap. So beautiful looking gap. Good follow through. Probably does need a rest or two. So if it wants to pull back, look for like 240. Resistance on this one, 249.24. Anywhere above that, you will get the continuation. But this is a big, massive move coming into Fed rate decision again. I don't think they're going to be too affected specifically off the rate cuts, but you do have some big news ahead of us tomorrow from the Fed. Maybe some profit taking or just some kind of probably needs a little bit of a rest. But if we do somehow break through this 249, we'll even call it 250. We'll see the Tesla effect and you get just more momentum to the higher side. I do think people are looking to buy the dip on AVGO if it pulls back, which is the same sentiment that we were kind of sitting here on Tesla, and that it just doesn't dip anymore. Tesla just does not want to dip, but you got 471.81 right now pre-market. Again, looks a little bit like almost yesterday. So yesterday we did have the gap fill. We didn't even get all the way back down to like 429.59, which is where that last previous support was. We did just rally higher. So today, if it can make it all the way back, this is a lot of buying on Tesla. Eventually, I think there will be a rug pull. I think somewhere. If only I knew when. But for today, I'm looking for 459.03. If we end up doing something like yesterday, then realistically, just kind of hitting into the highs of the day, missing my target by a little bit makes some sense. Let's see if this one wants to pull back a little bit at open as we're just really far extended. But everything else about Tesla still looks bullish. So even if you're getting some initial selling, probably if you start closing, if we get a candle closing below the 459.19, honestly, I can't even say that we're getting a big major pullback at that point. But the next target at least will take you to 430s, 44. So you might want some protection on it. For right now, though, I'd still be leaning bullish. Just have to wait for some kind of pullback to come in first. PLTR. Gapping down a little bit into a really, really good support zone. If we start losing 72.99, I got my next little zone, 72.07. We did already hit that yesterday. What we did not hit is this slightly lower one, 71.14, and then we start getting close to those moving averages. So again, big bearish engulfing candle. Actually, let's just check this out for a second. Let's do a quick fib here. So we ran right into the 618. We actually got a little bit above it yesterday, pulled back, we closed right into it. So that could be a little bit of a potential bull trap on this one, and we are having a gap and go. So maybe you have a little bit more edge, I guess, for a pullback to come in, but those support zones are going to make it a little tough to really be like, yeah, I'm comfortable getting like there's a wide range on it. It's very, very tight range. It's a little bit of chop still inside yesterday's candle as well. And we're at a little bit of support. But other than that, if this bearish engulfing candle is going to mean anything in the future of Palantir, that means we did break down. Sentiment changes a little bit. And this is a retest of that initial breakdown. And then we maybe continue for a slightly bigger move coming in. Palantir, again, they have a lot of cash in the bank. They have a lot of money. So interest rates specifically for them, probably not as important as some other companies, again, specifically like banking and things like that. But if again, it's what changes the market sentiment. And if Jerome says something or does something tomorrow and just pushes everybody to a bearish edge, I don't know if that's going to happen, but some of these companies that are right at the edge, that might be just enough momentum to kind of bring it back a little bit until we get another buying spot. TSM. But for right now, I think Palantir's fine. I think it's just chilling. Little concerned on it, but that's about it. TSM, a little bit of retest gap, slightly at support. This one does have a decent amount of range on it. There's a couple like older supports in here, $200.27. Then maybe like 198, but all of that are coming from like some old data points. I think you have room to like 195.54. It is a retest gap from close, and you're opening at support. So maybe we get a candle that opens green on this one, and then we can take a breakdown. But this one has a decent amount of room on it. So far, out of all of them, besides like Teva, which has room on both sides, and that just makes it a little tougher to trade. MSTR, we got MU, MNQ as well. MSTR. Just hanging out. I think I would throw a little bit more edge to the bull side on this one, even though yesterday was a red candle. That was mostly retest. We did again, we didn't get down to the support of 402.89, but we did retest yesterday's or we retested Friday's close pretty much perfectly. And now we're kind of getting a gap up from that close. First resistance is 422.72, and then we got 425.66. But right now, at least, it does seem like we're holding the 20 EMA. We're probably breaking out of a little bit of a downtrend on this one, which was following that just massive down day. So here's kind of our breakout inside candle and then a retest gap. So I'd be leaning bullish on MSTR. We'll see if we get some further movement from that. MU was on the list. MU does report tomorrow after the bell, so far buying into or at least positioning yourself before earnings reports has been for the most part a pretty solid play. Who knows what happens after earnings? Depends on obviously what they report, but again, it is starting to look like it is waking up a little bit. Got targets probably to like 132. Maybe the earnings are just outstanding. They were decent last time, but who knows? That would be a gamble going into earnings. Other than that, I would stay bullish today. Probably a small pullback at open. See if you could buy some MU shares, or at least I would consider somewhere around like 109.61. And then I'd be actually a little more cautious buying it lower, 108.78. That means you're probably just in a chop, and you're going to need probably a gap and go tomorrow in order to run it up into earnings. Decent little volume zone. If you start clearing at any point 110.72, you get some candles that close up there. I think your next stop takes you to about 113. So I would remain bullish on this one for now. Nothing seems like it's nothing looks like we're creeping in with any bearish momentum. Kevin wants to go spy puts. Yeah, I don't mind some spy puts up here, especially today. Again, I'd see if there's a little potential green candle, something like that. MQ Micro E Minis. It's gapping up. This is a retest. I'd probably expect a little bit of a retest of 22, 132. Put your stop somewhere above probably the opening price of this one, but 22,402. That's where I would kind of, as long as your stop that one. I think, well, that bell was aggressive today. That was a very aggressive bell. Scared me and gave me a heart attack all at the same time. It was crazy. But everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Be careful. We do have a lot of news coming out tomorrow, which we have not really seen a lot of news lately. So tomorrow's going to be interesting and fun. And then we're going to start heading into the end of the week where we get some of those